So we've been talking about this for a while now, high grocery prices, but a recent report in Consumer Affairs shows Pennsylvania is seeing higher, if not some of the highest increases in grocery prices in the country. So we want to bring in Lonnie Golden, a professor of economics and labor human resources at Penn State University. Thank you so much for joining us.
Glad to be here from Penn State Abington.
Yeah, so this Consumer Affairs report says California is seeing the #1 highest grocery price increases, but Pennsylvania is #2. Why is Pennsylvania #2 on this list?
That's a really good question. I think some of the inflation we're seeing is a reflection that prices are a little bit higher in the Mid-Atlantic region, and we're squarely right there. And maybe the demand for things like eggs are not as soft as they are at other places. So as we've seen certain prices go up, and consumers maybe in Pennsylvania are not as responsive as other consumers might be elsewhere.
Yeah, and you mentioned eggs. What are some other food items that are seeing some of the biggest increases?
Well, over the last month, there's been some increases. The continuing increase in the price of eggs, the price of beef in terms of groceries. But over the last year, there's been a higher than average inflation rate increases, particularly in auto insurance. And I have a feeling that has a lot to do with some of the gains in prices in Pennsylvania, where we are required to have auto insurance, but also things like airfare and things like food away from home. So the more we depend on these kind of goods and services, the higher prices we're going to face.
Yeah, and baby formula increased the highest, according to this report, at 17.5%. That has to be a concern for a lot of families.
I would think. I'm not sure what's behind that, and if it's just short term. Like, we do see that some prices like eggs were supposed to be short term, but if we got these supply restrictions like the bird flu that aren't going away, in fact, they might be getting worse, then maybe the same thing's true with baby formula.
So Data Assembly, who collected this information, they also found that shoppers in rural areas are paying more for groceries than those in urban areas. And is that actually true? And if so, why?
That I can't speak to whether it's true or not, but it's very typical that when there's a lot of grocery stores around, the economics of it, if there are a lot of supermarkets that are competing with each other, like in urban and suburban areas, they're going to put a cap on some of the price increases, where in the case of rural areas, maybe that happens, but not initially.
Yeah, so how could President Trump's tariffs on Mexico and Canada affect prices? Where will we see some of the price hikes there?
Well, those aren't kicking in yet, as far as I understand. But when they do, I mean, they're tremendously high tariffs. And if they do get enacted, then we're going to see a boost in prices and ranges we haven't seen in years for those particular items. They're playing a longer-term political game about, who can restrict the trade from one country to another through higher prices. But ultimately, I think consumers will foot the bill of that if indeed they go through with these tariffs.
Yeah, and AAA also says a threat of tariffs are also and could be the reason why we'll see higher gas prices. Can you explain that?
Well, gas prices actually come down in the last year. They went up in the last month. And one of the things, since you asked before, that has come down in price are things like used vehicles. So a lot of these prices fluctuate. It's hard to tie them directly to one particular month or one particular short-term trend. But I would say, that things aren't very rosy for the price of gas if we're going to continue those tariff policies.
All right, Penn State's Professor Golden, thank you so much for being here, for your time. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.